Welcome to the 3 Forex traders that were arrested for fraud. Coming in at number 3, we have Mr. Thomas Lanzana, a 51-year-old South Carolina resident. According to the U.S. Attorney's General Office for the District of New Jersey, Mr. Lanzana solicited nearly $1 million from at least 20 investors and made false and unrealistic claims. Mr. Lanzana told investors that he was a Forex trader and used highly sophisticated trading algorithms to generate extremely high returns. It was even stated that Mr. Lanzana sent false account statements to his investors and posted false monthly account statements on his company's website. Now, according to the court documents, Mr. Lanzana was not a Forex trader and was operating a Ponzi scheme. He allegedly blew most of the money purchasing jewelry, luxury cars, playing golf, and of course, on Amazon purchases.
Used to living a life of luxury. Now a local investment advisor is sitting in a jail cell charged.
In August of 2019, Mr. Lanzana pled guilty to 1 count of wire fraud, which faces a maximum potential penalty of 20 to 30 years in prison and a fine of at least $250,000. Coming in at number 2, we have Mr. Jason Ari Amada, a 42-year-old New York resident. Mr. Amada was the CEO and owner of Hold Brothers Online Investment Services. The company was stripped of its investments or securities license in 2012 and closed its doors. 3 years after closing, Mr. Amada set out again to regain ground in the investment world. The problem with this newfound idea that Mr. Amada had was that he no longer held a securities license. So an unlicensed Jason Ari Amada began soliciting money from investors and claimed to be an experienced, expert currency trader. So as Mr. Amada attempted to prove himself in the Forex market, he quickly found himself in deep trouble. Jason Ari Amada solicited over $250,000 from one of his unlucky investors. Just 45 days into trading, he lost all of that investor's money. According to the indictment filed by the SEC, Jason Ari Amada lost 99% of his investors' principal. Now, court documents showed that Mr. Amada hid his trading losses by providing his clients with fake account statements. Mr. Amada also faked profitable trades and emailed statements to his victims displaying growing accounts. Now, was Jason Ari Amada just an honest person forced into a bad situation because he was a terrible trader? Well, according to court documents, he was more than just a bad trader. He was a complete fraud. Not only did Mr. Amada hide his trading losses, he was blowing his clients' investment dollars on luxury vacations, clothes, and gambling. As months went by, investors began to ask for their returns, and Mr. Amada could not produce the money. Unfortunately for Mr. Amada, and very fortunate for his future investors, the complaints started rolling in, which led to an investigation into Jason Amada's operations. On August 29th of 2018, Jason Ari Amada was arrested for fraudulently soliciting money. The following month, he pled guilty to grand larceny in the 2nd degree and scheme to defraud in the 1st degree, and he was sentenced to 3 to 6 years in prison for stealing $500,000 from his investors. Number 1, Mark Johnson, age 51, of the UK, was an executive of one of the world's largest and most successful financial institutions. Now, Mark Johnson served as the head of HSBC's Global Foreign Exchange Cash Trading Unit. This client was converting $3.5 billion to British pounds sterling. Now, due to the possibility of market manipulation, the client asked HSBC to keep the transfer confidential. HSBC agreed, but Mark Johnson decided that this would be an excellent opportunity for him to manipulate the market and grab a share of his clients $3.5 billion.
Front-running one of his clients, Cairn Energy, in a trade where HSBC, were converting some money that Cairn had made from pounds to dollars. And instead of doing the right thing, they actually went and told a load of other traders, look, we're going to do this. And they ramped up the pound.
Now, Mark used his client's $3.5 billion to manipulate the price of the pound sterling. Now, Mark Johnson, along with his co-workers, many who reported directly to him, collected about $7.3 million at the expense of his client. But that was only the tip of the iceberg. Now, Mark Johnson was only a small piece of the pie because the SEC, FBI, and the Serious Fraud Office of Britain found collusion between individuals at Barclays, Citigroup, and JP Morgan, and a few others. And it was said that these traders were a part of a group known as the cartel and used telephone, emails, and chat messages to coordinate the manipulation of the foreign exchange market. Now, the Britain investigation agency, known as the Serious Fraud Office, they closed their investigation in March of 2016 without filing criminal charges. They closed it due to a lack of evidence. The United States, however, brought criminal charges against several brokers, including Mark Johnson, and many of the major financial institutions agreed to pay billions of dollars in civil penalties.